Everyone, welcome to another video. In this video I will tell you how we can create editable grids like this by connecting to Dataverse table, and the data is available here which you can edit inline, right? And also I will tell you how you can delete line by line immediately on this grid, and how refresh can be implemented, and how to create new records, right? And how you can update existing records by editing this editable grids, right? Let me show you a demo. Let me change this first name to something else. I'm changing this to, so once I have changed any item from a row, the toggle here will change to yes. So what I will do, whatever changes you have done in the selected rows, the toggle will be updated. Let me update this also. So as you keep editing different types of rows, the corresponding toggle will be changed to yes, so that whenever someone click save button, only the lines which are having update requires yes will only be updated in the Dataverse, right? So I don't want to update every row, rather the changes only be updated in the Dataverse. Now you can see this both is updated, this is also updated and this is also updated, and it is refreshed, right? Now this is the editable grid, and if you want to delete, you can delete it. Let me delete this one. So I can click on this delete button and it will delete the row completely, right? And that is trying to delete from Dataverse, right? Now it is deleted, you can see here. And if you want to create a new row, if you click on this plus button, it will add a new blank row, and when the blank row will be added, you can enter data. Let's say Dinesh and Kumar, for example, and let's say dinesh@gmail.com. Now can you see that whenever I have updated here, the toggle is changed to yes. That's why whenever I will save it, automatically the row which is having yes as this update requires toggle will be saved. Now it is saved and refreshed, right? So you understand how this editable grid is connected to contact entity of our Dataverse or Dynamics 365. You can connect to any data source. Let's say if you want to connect to SharePoint also, you can connect. But how this is built, let me tell you, start from scratch. Okay, so let us create a new screen. If you are working on a Canvas app, you can create a new screen and rename the screen for your convenience. Let's say my editable grid. So I've just changed the screen name, right? And I want to design the screen. I will add some rectangle here to the top so that it will represent my top bar. I will change the fill color edge purple, for example. Then I can just drag a text label here and change this color to white color, and I will change the size as per my choice. And in the text label, I want to change it as, let's say, my editable or contact editable grid. Okay, I can specify here contact editable grid. You can see the right side property of the label, you can change it. Now once you have updated this, now the next thing is you have to add some controls to represent as save, add new and refresh. So I will go to insert and click on icons and add an icon called as add, and I'll drag and drop it here and change this color to white. Like that, I can copy this and paste it here and change this to save. I will go to the icon property of this icon and change this icon to save, right? Now I want to add another icon to represent as refresh. So I can go here and change this icon property to refresh, or reload, there is a option called as icon.reload, right? So I've created three icons here to represent refresh, save, and add new record. My next intention is I have to define a grid which will display or connect to my data source, right? My data source is Dynamics 365 or Dataverse contact entity or contact table. Now let me rename this button so that it will be easier. So this is the icon 4. I can rename this as ICO add, and this button I can change it to, always rename properly, ICO save, and I can define this as ICO refresh. Okay, and this label also I can change, let's say LBL head, and this rectangle I can rename as top bar. Okay, so it is always best practice to change your controls or components in a proper naming convention. Now next I want to have a grid here to represent as a editable grid. So I'll go here to the insert panel and search gallery. Okay, and instead of vertical gallery I will take blank vertical gallery, so the list items will display vertically ordered. Okay, so I'll change the size by dragging and dropping the edges of this gallery. Okay, and here you will see whenever we drag any gallery control, this is not connected to data item till now, right? So what I will do, I will add some components to represent as text box so that I can edit, right? So drag the text input and drop it here. So this is the first text box which will represent my first name. Next another text input to represent last name of the contact, another text input to display or to represent for email field, right? Now this will be 3 items for every row of the gallery. So what I will do, I'll just drag this to make the height smaller, right? Now for every text field I will remove the default value and write down the so just removing the default value will give the value blank initially, right? Now what other things I want to keep in the in every row of the gallery, blank gallery, I want a toggle control. So I'll search toggle. Till now I'm just designing, I have not started any Power FX. Okay, and I will add another icon here so that which will represent as an delete button. So I'll click on icon and click on trash, which will represent, so it is now creating only one, but just select this row and add the icon so that it will create the icon in every row, right? Drag and drop it here. Okay, now I have designed the gallery in my way, right? Now I want to design the headers to represent the column, right? So I can take a container. Okay, I can take a vertical container or horizontal container and drop it here, and I can define the height and width by dragging and dropping it. Okay, now as because this is a container, horizontal container, whatever component I will add here, that will be arranged in a horizontal manner, right? So I want to put a text label, so I drag and drop it here in the container, right? And I can scroll it. You cannot scroll it, right? If you want to change the width, you can just go here in the property and you can change the width here, right? Let's say I want to make it 400. Now it will change like this. Now I can copy this and paste here again. I want to paste once more because 3 fields are there, right? And that's it. I want to change the label age. Let's say click on this first one and change this to first name. This will represent for the first name header, and this will represent for last name, and the third one will represent as email. Okay, right. Now if you want to keep it center, you can click the center property, right? And if you want to make it bold, you can make it bold by going to the home, and you can change anything, right? You can change it to purple, you can change it to purple and make it bold. So it depends on you that how the look and feel should be, and you can make it according to you, right? Now once it is done, the next thing is I have to bind this grid or this gallery. Let me change this gallery name. Click on rename and let's say gallery contact, right? Also I want to change the toggle name. Let's say toggle flag. Okay, right. So now I want to connect to the contact entity, so I will click on this and go to data and search for the contact. If the contact entity is not added, you can click on the add data and search here. You can search contact. So this is pointing to your current environment. This contact is already added, so you will see here the contact. I can click on this contact and go to data source and choose this contact. Now automatically the data source is connected to this gallery, but the controls that I have added, the text boxes are not associated with fields, so I have to associate with the fields first. Click on this first row, first item, and in the default option, you just write down this item dot first name. So whenever you will mention this item dot first name in the first text box in every row, it will connect to the first name of the contact record. Like that, in the next column, next field, you have to mention this item dot last name, right? Next, this item dot email. Now it will connect to every record and it will display every record and first name, last name and email. Now what about this toggle? I want to manipulate. If you run it, you can see here all the records are displaying and you can edit it as per your need, right? But if you edit this, the toggle is not moving, right? I want to enable this so that whenever I will save it, the system should find out which toggle is on so that it will update. Now next thing is you have to write down some power effects to make this toggle enable if someone changes any data. By default, can you see that the value is off? I don't want to display on off. Can you see that? If you click on this, it changes to on and it changes to off. I don't want on off. It should be yes or no. So I can go here and go to advanced and change it to the false text is no and the true text is yes. Okay, I can make it yes. This is the true text and the false text is no. Now you can see yes, no. Okay, so let us implement dynamically that whenever someone changes anything in the first name, last name or email, I need to change this automatically to yes. So how can we do that? You have to click on this toggle and click on this defaults property. In the defaults property, I have to write down some formula for write down some power effects. I want to see if the record's first name and the text box value is different, or the records last name and the text box value is not same, then make the toggle as yes. So I'll just go here and mark it as or. You can use or logical. Then I have to write down the logic. What is the logic? If this item dot first name not equal to txt, what is the text box name? Let me go back and check. Okay, I have to rename this, right? Let's say I want to rename this as txt first name, and the second one I'll change it to txt last name, and the third one I want to update as txt email. Okay, now in the formula I want to write down if first name not equal to txt first name dot text, then comma. What I'm writing? I'm writing the formula or power effects for the toggle button. What should be the value? Next logical expression is for last name. First name change, then last name change, and it should be txt last name, and the third one is email. So this should be txt email dot text, and close the bracket. Now what it will do, if the value, someone changes the value in first name or last name or email, then toggle will be changed to yes, right? So let us test this, run it. Now by default it is no. Now let me change something here. Let me delete this. Can you see that it changes to yes? In the second row also, if I'll change to something else, let's say XYZ, then also it is changing. So now it is implementing correctly. Now if you change anything on the first name or last name or email ID, the toggle will change to represent these are the items that needs to be updated, right? Okay, now the toggle functionalities we have done. Now we will implement the delete option. Whenever someone click on delete, I want to delete this row from contact entity. So click on this icon and go to unselect property, insert action and unselect. Here you have to write down remove, and what you want to remove? You want to remove contact records. Which record you want to you want to remove this item. This item represents this current item from where you initiated this delete option, right? Now once it is deleted, I want to refresh or reload the contact entity records. So I will use refresh, and inside that I will pass contact data source because I want to refresh the contacts, and I want to reset the gallery, right? So pass gallery control, gallery contact. Now what it will do? It will do three things. It will remove the item from the contact entity, refresh the contact data source, and reset the gallery. So it will rebind the data. So I can click on run. Now let us click on this. Now if I click on delete, this line will be deleted from the data source, from the contact entity, and it will be refreshed. Can you see that? It is refreshed and the record is gone. If I want to delete this, I can also again delete this. So this record will be deleted. Now it is deleted and refreshed, right? And it is also deleting from data source, right? Because I am refreshing the contact data source. Now this thing is I have done, right? Deleting and updating the toggle according to the value change. Now I want to add the functionality for add new. So I'll click on this button and go to the unselect property and write down the power effects. To create a new record, default record of the contact entity or a data source, you have to write something like this: page. Whenever someone click the plus button, it will call the patch function, and the patch function you have to pass the data source. Which data source you want to patch? You want to patch contacts entity, and the next thing is which record, right? The record is you have to write down in curly braces. To define the default value of a contact record, you have to write down contact colon this item this record contacts and contact dot this record. You can define this record also. Sorry, it should be this item. Let me check. I just want to check that formula. Yes, it should be defaults contact. Sorry. So you have to take the next item is defaults contact, because I want to create a new contact record with default value. So use defaults and inside that pass the record contacts, and what data you want to insert, because I want to insert new data, right? So in curly braces you have to pass first name equal to txt first name dot text, right? And the second parameter is last name, and the value is txt last name dot text, and third parameter is email, and it should be txt email dot text. The same way, right? We are just passing the text box values to the column, right? Sorry, curly braces, and complete the patch function. Now you understand how it is built. Patch contacts data source and the default contact I want to create, and with these values, so it will create new contact record, right? Now if you define this, what it will do, it will create. So how it will identify? So normally when you use patch function for creating, you just create by passing blank function, blank value, right? I don't want to give any value right now, right? It will just create a blank row, and through the update message we will update the new values, right? So let us check this. Go ahead and run this. Now click on the plus button. When you click on the plus button, a new row, blank row will be added here. Can you see that a blank row is added? Here I can define something, and also accordingly the change, the toggle is identified. That means whenever I will click on save, this item will also be updated. Till now I have not associated any save functionality, that's why it will not work properly. So let us do that. Now this refresh button, I will mention something here. I will go to the when someone click on refresh button, I want to refresh this grid correctly. So I will go to unselect and use refresh data source contact entity, because it is connected to contact entity, and again it will reset the gallery contact, right? Now I can run it. Now these are the temporary values. If I'll click on refresh, it will reset, right? So this is the blank row that is already added in the contact entity. I need to update. Now once I will update, when someone click on this save button, I should loop through all the selected toggles where I found yes, then update all rows to the contact record or contact entity, right? So let us write down that formula. Click on the save button, and click on select. Here we have to write down something, some loops, right? So in Dynamics, in Power Apps, we use for all to run a loop. Okay, now for all requires a source and a formula. What source you want to loop through? I want to loop through the gallery control. So search, and it's not about just gallery control items, only those items where the toggle item is yes, because toggle item yes means this row value needs to be updated. So use filter. What I want to filter? I want to filter gallery contact dot all items, and the condition is where toggle flag dot value equal to true. Okay, so this is my filter condition, and whatever data it will filter, I will run through the loop, run through all the items where toggle flag value is true, and I want to do something. What I want to do? I want to update. So click on comma, and you have to write down here what is the formula. I want to update, right? So you have to write down page. What you want to patch? You want to patch the contacts record. So write down the contacts. This is the data source I want to patch. What record you want to update? I want to update the default contact, right? The contact associated with the current row. So I'll search contact colon this record dot contact. So this will represent the current row that is edited, and that is looping through this item, filter items. Then so this record will represent the item through this loop one by one. Then what value you want to update? You want to update first name, last name, and email. So write down here in the curly braces, first name should be txt first name dot text, then last name, and it should be txt last name dot text, then email, and it will be not this one. Let me just go here and type down email. Email should be txt email dot text, right? So click on format text, so it will format your PowerFX in such a way that you can read it properly. Now this method or this PowerFX will update all the records that is selected for updation in the gallery control, right? You can notify here if you want to notify records updated. Okay, and what type of message is this? You can define success message, and I want to collapse this. Now I have done successfully the editable grid. Now click on refresh. It will refresh all the records. Let me update the first two rows. Let's say Dinesh, Prakash, Roy, and in the Gmail I want to update 1 2 3 4 5. Can you see that the toggle button is enabled? Now I'll go here and add another just I'm giving some value, right? Now these two records needs to be updated. Let me update the third one. I will skip third one. I will update the fourth one. Let me update this to something. gmail.com. Now can you see that? So whenever you will change any item, that row toggle is changed to yes. That means whenever someone click the save button, means it will pick up all those rows where the toggle is yes, and one by one all the row will be updated in the Dataverse or Dynamics 365 contact entity. Click on save, I'm expecting the 3 records should be updated. Can you see that record updated? This is also updated, second one is updated, and third one is updated. If you want to refresh also, it will give you the same data. And if you want to click on plus, it will create a blank row and you can add it here. So now the yes is populated here. I can save it so that this record data will also be updated. Now if you want to delete it, I can click on delete and it will delete the row from the data source immediately. You understand how CRUD operation can be performed and how editable grid can be designed or built in Power Apps connecting to Dynamics 365 or Dataverse entity. You can also connect to this gallery or to this editable grid to SharePoint data source also. So thank you for watching this video. I hope you learn a lot of things on editable grid configuration. Please subscribe this channel if you are landing this channel freshly or newly, and enable the the bell icon so that you will get notified whenever I will update any new technical video. See you guys. Thank you.